What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video we're diving back into the Spring Cup with another strong team, this time a double water backline using two very strong Pokemon that you guys probably already have ready for the Open Great League. So we're going to have Roserade here on the lead with Walrein Safe Swap and a Lantern in the back. Now, with the Roserade, I would suggest if you guys do have Poison Jab as the fast move to do that, but the only one I have ready to go is the one with the Community Day move of Bullet Seed, so I'm going to keep it with that. Alright, getting into the first battle, we have Roserade on the lead versus Shiftry. So this is going to be very interesting. Both of us are going to be doing a ton of damage to each other, and we are both going to be spamming each other with charge moves. Now thankfully mine does do super effective damage with Weather Ball, so we will be putting a lot of shield pressure early, but this is the dangerous thing about Shiftry, is it could be a Foul Play or it could be a Leaf Blade. So I'm going to go ahead and respect it, and it is going to be the Leaf Blade, and now I'm going to go for another Weather Ball, and we're just going to be going back and forth. Obviously the Shiftry would destroy my backline if I allow it to go against it, so we have to be very, very careful here. And I'm going to decide to double shield, and it was another Leaf Blade, unfortunately for me. Now, the opponent makes a great swap catching the charge move here, but this is also a good opportunity. Even though they did catch the charge move, this is an opportunity for me to build back up to Weather Ball and now swap back into Lantern. Lantern here can do very well in this matchup, as it is doing super effective damage with Spark and Thunderbolt. Now, since we both have no shields, Bug Buzz is going to land, and we can take this opportunity to load up on some extra energy. That way we can get to a potential Thunderbolt here versus Shiftry if it comes back in. So Thunderbolt does land. Boom! See ya, Araquanid. And now let's see if that Shiftry is going to decide to come in. No, they instead decide to come in with Whiscash, and this is going to be very interesting because this Whiscash is going to look to fully farm us down with Mudshot, which means it's going to have a ton of energy on this back end. But thankfully with Surf here, we're going to be able to get this Whiscash relatively low, and this is going to be a very close game if the Whiscash is going to try to fully farm down, because now we force their hand with some energy. Here we go. We're going to come in with Walrein. I know that Shiftry has a Leaf Blade loaded, but I think we can survive it. This is going to be the troubling thing. I know they're going to swap right here. This is what they're swapping on me. I can feel it coming. So they swap. I'm going to go ahead and pray that I can survive. And we do, so I counter swap back into Roserade now to go for Weather Ball to one-shot the Shiftry. Nearly one-shot, I can't boom it. We farm it down. Now Whiscash is going to come in and have to throw its energy, but remember, our Walrein survived with 1 HP and a Dream, and we have the Icicle Sphere ready to go. So what an incredible back and forth right here, but Walrein hanging on to close this game out. Alright, moving to the next one. We have Roserade on the lead versus Araquanid. So it's honestly kind of a tough matchup here on the lead. So I'm going to swap into Walrein to see if I can bait out a grass type Pokemon. Seeing as they had a water lead, it's going to be very common that there's something like Abomasnow, Trevenant, or Ferrothorn in the back, so I wanted to get that onto the field so that Roserade can come back into the Araquanid matchup with a lot more energy, so we can apply some pressure with that Leaf Storm. So we're going to go ahead and get farmed down here. That's okay. We can easily come in with Roserade now. Ferrothorn, obviously on the field, means Lantern could have a very good endgame, and now Roserade right here can load up on some energy, but I decide to throw the Weather Ball instead. I don't want to give up a shield just yet, and they decide to let it go. Boom. So actually we got the Ferrothorn out of there. Araquanid is going to be coming back in, so I'm going to look to go for a Leaf Storm here, as it does an incredible amount of damage, and then we might look to swap out now into Lantern as it does land. So we're going to go ahead and do that swap, reading that there might be another grass in the back that Roserade might have to take out with Weather Ball. They go for the Bug Buzz here, but they're staying in. And this is very interesting. They must be weak in the back to Lantern, so I'm reading one of two things. Tentacruel or one of those Water Flyers. So let's see what it's going to be. It's actually going to be the Water Flyer. In this case, it's going to be Pelipper. So in this situation, yes, Thunderbolt can one-shot, but they do have 2 shields. And Surf, even though it is resisted, is still going to chunk because our raw damage is going to be coming from Spark. So I'm going to make sure I build up to Thunderbolt each time and then throw the Surf. We will have to shield here in case it was a Hurricane, but it was just a Weather Ball, and now they're going for another Weather Ball, so we'll just double shield. Lantern is our win condition right now because we don't want to swap into Roserade and potentially get farmed down or taken out. We don't have a lot of energy as well. So Lantern here should be able to just go for another Spark and another Surf, and that is going to be a good game. Yes, Surf is resisted, but ultimately Pelipper is not the bulkiest Pokemon out there, and this is going to be enough resisted damage in order to take it out, and that is going to be a good game. Very well played. All right, moving to the next one. We have Roserade on the lead versus Trevenant. So, kind of a tough matchup right here, but ultimately Weather Ball does do quite a bit of damage, so we're going to look to go for that right away, trying to get some early shield pressure if we can. So, Weather Ball does land. That's a beautiful amount of damage, and now this is the kind of tough situation where I could just let this go, but I decide to shield, and it is going to be the Shadow Ball. Now, we do see a swap out into Tentacruel, so I'm going to go ahead and go for the Leaf Storm, but I build up a little bit too much energy. I think maybe I could have thrown the Leaf Storm right away and then swapped out, but now I can come in with Lantern right here. And this is going to be a very interesting situation. Obviously, we're fully expecting the Acid Spray, which it is, so we can now... we just got to be careful about the next charge move, but I'm like, you know what? We should be okay if they're going for another Acid Spray here. It's not going to do too much damage, but my goodness. Oh, it's a Sludge Wave! Boom! I did not see that coming. Huge props to my opponent there for throwing the Sludge Wave. I did not see that coming a mile away. That was such a beautiful charge move, and ultimately, that's going to be the... GG's right there as they took Switch. I don't have a lot of... I was fearful now of the next Sludge Wave. I have to go for Earthquake. There's still a Trevenant to deal with, and we don't know what that third Pokemon is, but my guess is it's going to be... Well, it is going to be a Walrein. I thought it was going to be Lantern or Walrein, but in this case, we got to go for Icicle Spear to try to get a Shield Bait, and then maybe I try to catch the charge move on Roserade here. We do get the Shield Bait, so now I'm going to try to catch, and they held it and farmed me down. So that's going to be a good game, very well played. I did not see the Acid Spray Sludge Wave coming through, and ultimately, that's what sealed the deal there. Good game. All right, moving into the next one. We have Roserade on the lead versus Trevenant once again. So we want to try to do as much damage as we can, or try to get off 2 Weather Balls if we can here. So we're going to go ahead and go for that first one. And again, yes, Walrein does well, but we don't ultimately want this thing to be lined against Lantern. And they decided to shield, which is very interesting. That means they might be weak in the back. They could be running those double water comp, but I'm going to go ahead and no shield this one, as it is going to be the Seed Bomb, because I got myself an advantage there. I got myself shield advantage. So if I was to go down to Shadow Ball, I'd come in with Walrein and Powder Snow down. They decided to double shield. So now I'm going to swap into Walrein here, because having 2-0 shields is going to be very advantageous for us, because if they don't swap out, and I can throw this Icicle Spear, which I do, this is going to be taking out that Trevenant, which gets it out of the game, and if this is the only Grass-type Pokemon, boom! Then Lantern's going to be looking very good. Now they bring in a Tentacruel, which is even better, because we have Earthquake for super effective damage because of that poison typing there. So we're going to go ahead and let the Acid Spray go through. We do have a little bit of PTSD here from the Sludge Wave previously, but ultimately we're going to hang strong with that not being the most common moveset in this meta right now, but it makes a lot of sense in hindsight, and we do see a swap out into Mawile, so I try to go for the Earthquake, but I don't get there in time. But Lantern should be able to take it. The hardest hitting move left in the game. Ideally, if we're going to talk about predictions, is going to be a Play Rough here from Mawile because of maybe the Acid Spray Scald on Tentacruel. So we're going to go ahead and look to shield. It is going to be the Play Rough, so that's going to be a good call as we can now farm down with Spark. We have lots of energy to take out the Tentacruel, and that is going to be a good game, very well played, as we can just go for Surf. It was at like 1 health point remaining. So ultimately, that is going to be a good game. This team was a lot of fun to use, and utilizing Pokemon that we already have built, like Walrein and Lantern. Now, we have a Ferrothorn here on the lead, which is pretty positive for us, and they swap out into Weezing. So what I need to do is try to catch the charge move if I can on Lantern. I want to try to catch that Overheat, but ultimately I'm going to go for Weather Ball first, load up a little bit of extra energy, and then I'm hoping to try to catch the Overheat, but they don't throw it on the swap, which means this might just be Brutal Swings, which it is. So that's a lot of not too much neutral damage, but it's gonna add up. Now, I do want to keep switch advantage if I can, so 2 Brutal Swings isn't enough to KO us. So I'm going to go ahead and let this next one go through because of the pacing that they have right now. This is just going to be another Brutal Swing, which we can survive. And again, getting us this low means that Ferrothorn can't get a ton of energy from farming it down. I mean, it's going to get a good amount considering how low we actually are, but it's not going to get as much as it would if I threw the Surf earlier before that 3rd Brutal Swing, right? Because then Ferrothorn could fully farm down, which would be dangerous with 100 energy. So we're going to go ahead and do as much damage as we can. We have a Weather Ball ready to go, and they make a great swap, but they swap into Mawile. So this Weather Ball is actually going to be able to put pressure to get a shield, and now I can come in with Shadow, or with our Walrein. It's going to be a Shadow Mawile right there. And I'm going to actually look to go for Weather Balls. I know this is dangerous. I got to let this charge move go through, but I mean, I could go straight for the Earthquake, but I thought if I could try to get a shield here with Weather Ball and then obviously land the Earthquake, that would be beautiful. But if not, at least I can chunk the health down right here where I might just be able to get 3 Icicle Spears in time. Now, they let that charge move go through, which is dangerous, but ultimately we did get the shield and the health down. And now Roserade should be able to close this game out as they do decide to now swap back into Ferrothorn to try to catch the charge move. But I have a win condition before me. This is going to be loading up to double Weather Ball, which I do, as both Weather Balls is going to one-shot each Pokemon that they have remaining. Ferrothorn, boom! And Mawile, you love to see it. Roserade, putting in a lot of work for me, and ultimately a really fun Pokemon that you guys can try out in this meta. Boom, takes out the Mawile, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. This team was a lot of fun. Again, trying to synergize Pokemon that we have built over the years, over the seasons, that are very meta in the Open Great League, so you guys can try to get some wins in these specialty cups. So Roserade, Walrein, and Lantern. Again, if you don't have the legacy move of Bullet Seed, go with Poison Jab. I think it does a bit better in this meta because of a lot of neutral damage that you can do to apply that pressure. But overall, really fun team. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And like always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.